Thank you, Brother Ricky. Some key words that stand out in this text. One is in verse 28, warning. Paul says, warning every man. Verse 29, he says, I also labor, striving. And he says, which worketh in me mightily. So we get the picture here that this is being conformed to the image of Christ, being perfected, is taking place against opposition, a lot of opposition. That's why Paul had to labor, he had to employ wisdom, he had to strive. The power of God had to be working in him mightily for these things to be accomplished, because we do this in the midst of a lot of opposition, primarily opposition from our own flesh. But in addition to that, opposition from the world in all different manners of opposition. But one of the things I saw in this is that this shows the tremendous wisdom of God, that he doesn't place us in a sterile environment and perfect us there. But in dealing with a carnal nature, in mortal bodies, living in a wicked world, surrounded by wicked people, the prince of the power of the air ruling this environment, in this arena, in this quarry, is where God is able to perfect us. And we will come out perfect, even in the midst of all of this. So it shows a tremendous wisdom of God. And this is one of the things that he's revealing. We know this is declared in the gospel. He's declaring his wisdom to the principalities and powers in heavenly places. I also appreciate Brother Paul's saying here, teaching every man in all wisdom. And Brother Ricky mentioned this towards the end, where it takes wisdom, and this is a wisdom that we want to employ also, in bringing people to Christ, or exhorting one another, or speaking to one another in whatever circumstances, whatever situation, wherever it takes the knowledge of God and wisdom to point people from where they are at to Christ, to bring Christ to bear on the situation. And this is a wisdom that he employed. And I imagine, well, we know from our own experience, it requires wisdom and labor and striving. I also thought of this text in 1 John 3, when he shall appear, we know that we shall be like him. I really enjoyed the way Brother Ricky brought this out. This is when the perfection is complete. This is how we're going through the process, so to speak, right now, is by looking at Christ. As Brother Ricky well said, what you see of him, or to the degree that you can see him, only to that degree can you be like him. So here's the first exhortation, is to continue looking at Christ. We enjoy a good assembly and good fellowship. The Lord has bestowed an abundance of grace upon us here, but we haven't attained yet. Brethren, there's more to be seen. There's a lot more of the flesh to be crucified. There's more striving for perfection to be made. There's more of Christ to see than we see now. So this is one thing I exhort you with, is to strive to see more of Christ. And what you see, share with the brethren. Share it with us, because this aids in our perfection. This is how the Lord works mightily in us. This is one of the ways. Also, Paul says here, I also labor, striving according to his working, which worketh in me mightily. So let's work with the Lord in this, and we'll find that he'll work through us mightily when we focus our attention on the Lord's Christ and preach the gospel. And our participation in this is by faith. This is by seeing things that are unseen, that we participate in this. So I exhort you then, brethren, to do these things, then to take heed to the word that was preached to us today, and to present your bodies as living sacrifices unto God, for him to do this work in each one of us. So I'll open it to you now.